recording. Yeah. I'll probably label the VOD this because it's probably, I'm just gonna probably talk about this and then I'm gonna get out of here. Because obviously I don't stream at this time. But yeah, it's just, oh man. So my biggest takeaways from that, I still think like it's too early to just jump to conclusions like I've seen a lot of people do. I think you still should wait it out. I will say it is interesting to me that Fauna went full graduation, not even affiliate, full on graduation. That is very interesting to me, especially with her ending lines of, it's not like I've left it because I didn't want to be there or I didn't want to be an idol. That was very interesting to me. I think, and what some people I think with like cooler heads are saying, is just like, I do think Hololive is going more in the direction of being an idol group. And I think someone pointed out even too, like the streaming revenue probably isn't even that much. So if anything, they're probably just going to treat streaming like, you know, advertising, right? Just to get new fans in. So then like they show up for their concerts or like live events and stuff. Like I don't think they're going to be a typical streaming VTuber agency anymore. And I think another person pointed out too, like, I don't think this is going to stop. We're going to see who aligns with this and who doesn't. I think 2025 will be a big year that shows that. Because I feel like also another important thing to point out about like them just saying disagreement with management is like, it could just be that they don't agree the direction it's going in, right? So it could just be like, oh yeah, no, I don't like the workload I'm getting, or like all that stuff. And like hearing what Laplace said about like the workload, like it is a lot. They do choose it, but like it can be a lot at times. And I think someone put it better of like, the ones who are focused on music are probably going to be the ones who stay. So yeah, if you want to see Hololive as a streaming, like a VTubing streaming agency, I don't think it's going to be that way. I think it's going to turn into an idol company. Because yeah, that is the thing too. That was what Hololive was founded on, and like why Sora, like Sora's dream was to be an idol, right? And I think Yago, like he says, he wants to treat it like Disney. Like I feel like it's really hard to treat something as Disney if you're just focusing on streaming. But like it is obviously a lot easier if you have like idols and you focus on that, right? And like the live events. If you focus on that, that's a lot easier to get like that Disney brand out there, right? So yeah, I think that's what it's gonna be more of. And like that was something that I tried to fight on my last stream yesterday. And it's funny because I used Fauna as the example, but yeah, now that Fauna's leaving, I think no, that is true. I think they are moving more in that direction. And like, yeah, you're just gonna have to decide like if you like that or not, right? If that's something you accept. Like I think that's what I've gathered from Fauna leaving, because in hindsight, Fauna leaving is not surprising. Like even like I feel like that Friday, like or yesterday rather, I keep thinking it's Sunday. No, it's Saturday, so yesterday. Like, I feel like I kind of treat it as, like, it's still kind of weird that Fauna was a part of it, right? Because she's so different. Like, she really didn't do any music, right? Like, she seemed streamer first. So, like, it was always so weird to me, and I think I was treating it, when talking about her last stream, like, it was so weird that she was still there, you know? And it's, yeah, she just say like, it's not like I don't want to be there. It's not like I don't want to be an idol. I feel like it's like, it can also just mean the workload though, right? The workload going into it. And also another thing, because I think Fauna is like Eastern time or something like that. I think she's still in America, North America. Like, and someone pointed out, like, flying to like back and forth to like Japan and stuff, like that's exhausting. It is still makes it a little interesting. Like the graduation part is still what makes it interesting. Like it's not an affiliation, it's a full-on graduation. It's like that's still interesting to me because like I feel like it wouldn't be that big of a deal like every like 2 years or something like that to do that. But yeah, like that's just the only thing that I find weird about it. I think if it was an affiliation, then I'd be like, yes, that's like in my theory. I feel like it would be 100%. The only thing that's kind of throwing it off is that Fauna did a full-on graduation. That's the only thing I find kind of weird. Because I feel like she could have done the affiliate, right, and be fine with it. And people said like Fauna sounds so done with it, but like I think it was probably just more like emotional. Because I feel like something like that is hard to say. And I think even like Ame had a hard time with it too. Which yeah, their streams were like identical. As soon as you see like everything around it, and people weren't pointing out also, but in the description was a single green heart, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, it's done. That's what sealed it for me, was like looking at the description of the stream and it was just a single green heart. Like, yeah, nope, she's done. Like actually when you think about it, like Fauna and Ame, how they did it was like very similar too. Because like also like they were using like a PL or something like that, like it got activated like a few weeks beforehand and stuff like that too. Like if Fauna took the affiliate route, like I think they actually would have been like pretty identical. And obviously Fauna has a month like of like we get this, like we get a month where Ame was 10 days, but again I'm pretty sure Ame said like she wanted to say it earlier. So I'm sure she also would have probably given like a month or something. But yeah. Like it also just makes sense for Chloe to step down too, because again, like she had throat problems. So like obviously it's gonna be very hard to do idol stuff when you have throat problems. So like, yeah. And another thing they brought up too is like, yeah, it's probably gonna affect EN more than it is gonna be JP. Because I think people would bring up like, because I was thinking like, oh, like a normal like work time is like 2 to 3 years you're at a job or something like that. And then people I feel like would be like, oh, what about JP? JP I feel like is well more adjusted to like the idol format. Obviously because like like that's Japanese culture, right, is idols. So like I think they would already be more well adjusted to it, and also like they're in Japan with the studio, so like that's obviously a lot easier to do. The EN and even like ID members who want to stay like in their home, like at home, right? Like that's gonna be very hard for them to do. So yeah, it's very interesting. I think the fact though that like Mume Agura hasn't said anything makes me think that they're staying. I assume also we're finally gonna get Mume back for this. It's kind of like how Gura came back for like Ame in her graduation. I assume Mume will come back for Fauna's graduation. But yeah, I think that's my thoughts on it. That's just how I feel. Like I think Hololife's going more like into the idol direction. And another thing I found interesting too, and I saw the post, like just searching up Fubuki because I wanted to see if Fubuki said anything about it, but I think I can only see if she's in Japanese. So I couldn't really find her. Because also for some reason, if you go to someone's following page, it only shows I think like the first like 100 or something stupid like that. You can't even like load more. But yeah, I saw the post that like Yago said like he wanted to focus on, because I think Kobo and Ali brought up like Hollow Star's ID. And Yago said like he wanted to focus on the current talents, and then like yeah, they brought in Justice, they brought in Flow Glow. Now to be fair, with September, like I was in September, so Justice will already debuted, but Flow Glow obviously didn't. So like there could be some stuff going on where like the investors want more people to come in, and also again former idols would make sense. So like it's very possible that yeah, they're just pivoting into being more of an idol company. Yeah, I think that's the main thing. And like it's so hard to be a giant company and like fit everyone's needs, and like it sucks, but just with how capitalism is now, you know, like it's so hard to do that. Like I'm sure if all of them could have a voice and then like say like, oh, this is what I want to do, like this is where I want to go with it, like even though they're like a company that's a bunch of money, I'm sure they can only do so much, right? Like some of these like views of their futures, like they just can't align, they can't overlap. So people are just gonna have to leave if they want to go down there and achieve their future dreams. It's just, yeah, 2025 is gonna be so crazy because like yeah, obviously 2024 I don't think we necessarily knew it, although I think Kuro was like the first one, like Nichi Sanji. I don't know his what his name in Nichi Sanji was unless he kept it, but I have no idea when that controversy was. But I know Pomu graduated January this year, so I think end of 2023, like it, where we are now in 2024, I don't think we realized how crazy it would have been in 2023. I think now here we're like this, like 2025 is gonna be crazy. And especially like if they are taking that idol route and like the people who maybe don't necessarily like want to go down that route, like they leave, like it's gonna be even crazier. You're gonna start seeing Hololive talents as indies. Like obviously we're seeing a little bit, right? But like you're definitely going to see it for sure. So yeah, because Fauna is also kind of a big loss for them, because although she didn't have the sub count, she was like higher half, right, and viewers, and I think that's with all Hololive, right? So that counts like JP too, and like yeah, so like if they were going to streaming, like losing Fauna would be a big deal. It's just very interesting, the like full-on graduation. That's just what I find the most interesting. And the thing is, like, we probably won't know anything about this until over a month, once Fauna finally like graduates. Even then, how long did it take for, was it like 3 weeks or something? It's like maybe 2 months. So yeah, everything about this is like crazy. Because yeah, I think the thing that hurts the most is like you just won't see these people interact with each other anymore, right? Because I've noticed also, and I think it's especially true of EN, they're looking at it as like just streamers, right? They're looking at it as like people having fun with each other, friends, like interacting with each other. And so yeah, I think honestly this pivot is going to be a huge hit on their EN base and their overseas base, because yeah, I think most of them were there for the streaming. It's why Fauna was like so popular, because she also was like fairly consistent too. She only took like one break or something like that, right? Like one long one, but for most part she was like fairly consistent. But yeah, I think EN, that branch will take a huge hit from them. And then I think, because I think ID won't hurt that much, especially like members, because they're still like, they're decently close to Japan, but like I don't think it's like too big of a change. But obviously with EN, most of them are in like North America, Europe, like they got to go quite a ways. It's like that's also a hard adjustment. It's just, yeah, I just think cover is taking a pivot. And yeah, it might be because they went public, but we don't know. A line in that, though, I did find interesting was that Yago said he wished he could do more for the talents, and he has room to improve. But like the part that he said, like he wished he could do more, that does make me seem like he's not the one completely in control, right? I don't know, but like that line did make it seem like he wasn't in complete control when he said that. So like I think he is being influenced a little bit, but it's just like, yeah, I mean, companies always, like, you can't have a company with good PR forever. It's just not gonna happen, just because of how, like, you know, they are, like, they're like, oh, we gotta make profit, like, and so yeah, there's always gonna be stuff like that. It's why also, like, if we had socialism, hey, they could have more workplace democracy, right? And like work together, find out what they all need. Now again, like I feel like it is like a little big, so like I'm sure even then they would still have some disagreements, but you know, I don't think this is necessarily a Hololive issue. I think it's a like societal, like economic government policy issue. Just with how companies have to be ran, right? And just how they will be ran. Like, I feel like it's more of that, because I mean, like, they went like 6 years, like, and like obviously that had the China incident, but I think for the most part, people looking back at it, it's like, yeah, no, Hololive was like in the right for that. So like, this is like the only year if like they've really had bad PR, except obviously again like China, but I think it's just in that area. So like, yeah, it is very interesting. I don't think Hololive will fully implode. I think they will pivot to that, and I think they'll do it pretty successfully. But I think if you wanted them as a streaming like VTuber agency, I don't think that's going to be around for much longer, especially with people like Fauna leaving. I wouldn't be surprised if Shiori leaves, right? Because Shiori seems more of like in that streaming area, like GG. I wouldn't be surprised, right? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if these people leave. I don't know if GG like within the next year, but maybe like a 2026 graduation for GG. I would not be surprised. And I don't know JP Johnson know enough, like who's like more streaming oriented and like who's more, like, I guess you could say Pecora is, but like I think Pecora also likes the music and the idol part of it. And like Fubuki, you could probably also say the same thing. Like, I think that's why like people are still like being like, oh, Fubuki's gonna lie and stuff, but like, no, I think she just likes the direction the company's gonna be going, right? Because she also had a solo life, right? So I think she's fine with the pivot. I don't think like it's gonna change anything. But yeah, if she does graduate, then yeah, I think something's gone horribly wrong. But like, if it's even like they're doing this pivot and Fubuki's like staying, like, yeah, I think she just agrees with, or like she's at least fine with the pivot they're making. I don't think she's like lying per se. I think it's just like, well, she likes the direction it's going, you know? Because we all have our own opinions, right, about how something should be ran. I'm sure like a lot of EM people are like, oh no, it should be a streaming agency first. But I think that the era of like a stream first agency for Hololive is kind of going on its way out, you know? It seems like it's ending. And like, I don't think if Hololive stops that, like VTubers die or something, like people were like, oh yeah, no, I think the VTuber trend's gonna die with that. Like, I don't think so. I don't think it's gonna die out, but yeah. Like, that is the thing though, like that's like the one good thing to come from like these like companies collapsing is like, oh, all these people get to collab again, right? Like I'm sure that's why people loved like the Doki and Mint collabs, right? Or like Doki Matara Mint collabs, like they were all like, oh yay, like that kind of stuff. Now obviously like, and Matara is a part of Fuse Shoujo, Michi's part of Fuse Shoujo, right? Mint and Doki aren't. So like you're gonna have them interact probably more often with other, I guess, indies, even though Fuse Shoujo isn't. But they're more like way more open to that stuff. So like they're probably gonna find more people like they collab with more. It even seemed like Fauna was friends with Shondo. Is that her name? Like before then, like Shondo even like put a reply underneath it. So like that seems like that's gonna be a collab that happens quite a bit. But yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. Like just the graduation thing is what's like, that's what's weird to me. Because like, yeah, she likes being an idol. Like that would be like the perfect time for it, but unless like maybe like Ame, like she talked with Ame and like she kind of explains like what it's all entailed. But I do think also her graduating means like this was inevitable. I think Chloe might have been one that happened because of the affiliate status. And I do think the people who are taking the affiliate status, like they're definitely leaving sooner because of that, right? But I think the Fauna one, like, yeah, no, that was inevitable. And like even with Ame, like if she didn't graduate right, or like if she just graduated normally and didn't do the affiliate, I think Fauna still would have left. That's what it means. And like, yeah, maybe she just wants to be fully indie, you know? She just wants to be an indie now. She doesn't want to deal with like corporate anymore, you know? She just wants to put that behind her. It's very possible. But yeah. It's just like, man. I even put it out like I'm like, I don't know if this year was the best year or the worst year for a new Hololive fan, because that is me, right? I started watching June 2024. So obviously the Aqua one didn't really hit me because I kind of just got in there, right? And I only watched the end clips, right? I didn't watch JP like at all until I think really the GTA event, and then I started watching JP clips. And then the Ame one hit, right? And that hit me a little bit. And then the Chloe one, like I was like, oh, I can handle this, right? I can handle this. And then Fauna the day after. Yeah, it was literally also after I was like, hey, this seems like they're all giving time for us to be like, okay, we're getting like a little bit of space in between, like a little time for it to like heal, and then just like day after. It's like, oh, cool, all right. Yeah, I would not be surprised if there's going to be more people leaving. And I don't think it's necessarily because like, oh, they're being treated poorly. I think it's just they're changing. It seems like they're changing into an idol company, and then the people who are going to be stream first or like don't want to like fly back and forth between like North America, Europe, and Japan, right? Like they're probably going to leave. I would not be surprised. It's gonna hurt every time, but I mean, yeah, it does hurt like that. You never will, like, I won't say never, but like at least for a while see any more interactions with them, you know? It does hurt. Because yeah, I think with the affiliate thing, it does just mean like if they graduate, they're not coming back. Yeah, because like Ame still has some value, right? If you're cover, because she's really like tech savvy with the 3D stuff, right? So even for like live events or concerts, like she can probably still help out. But yeah, with Fauna, she was like mostly just the stream one. Like, I feel like when you thought of it, streaming when it came to Hololive, Fauna was the first one. Even, who was it? Let's say, was it Pippa? Like, said Fauna was the best streamer. So, like, yeah, when you thought of streaming with Hololive, it was Fauna. For sure. And her leaving, like... And the fact that it didn't seem like they even tried to negotiate. She just... I mean, it is possible they could have tried to negotiate with her. It's just... She rather wanted to do that. It's so weird. Like, her ending lines... It's not like I didn't want to be there. Or I didn't want to be an idol. But then you do a full graduation. It's so bizarre to me. Like, that's, I think, the weirdest part for me. Is that. Was her ending lines, and then it's a full-on graduation. That's what's weird to me. Because, like, if that's something you want to do, like, I feel like even, like, having an affiliate would be the best thing to do, but... Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's another thing, like, people are saying, like, oh, doing it on the side, but, like, you can even do, like, doing, like, one event maybe, like, every 2 years or something like that, right? Like, I'm sure that wouldn't be that bad. Like, and you had to fly out to, like, Japan or something. Yeah, it means also we won't see, like, Ian Recco or anything. Dude, also that freaking video with all of Halloween's gonna hurt so much harder now, because even Fauna's on that, too. That video still isn't out. Like, that song they made. And that announcement was, like, first week of October, right? Dude, that's gonna hurt, like, hit so bad. Like, hit so hard when it finally drops. Because not only is there Ame, but now there's Fauna. Like, that's crazy. I feel like out of Council, the one who's the most streamer heavy is Crony. Because Mume has, like, a great singing voice. She is one that, like, gets easily embarrassed by it. But the fact that, like, she hasn't, like, graduated or, like, announced affiliate in any point during this time span, like, I mean, it could also be that, like, she's just making money from being the employee, right? Like she's still making money while she's, like, you know, because I think she's doing, like, uni work. So, like, it could just be that she's still, like, just making money while doing the uni work, right? So she can focus on that. But yeah, I do think it means that, like, she's gonna be around for a bit longer. Yeah, I don't know. I think Ceres is gonna stay around for a while, right? They've both made, like, 18 tracks, right? They're very clearly in the music set of it. People talk about how great of a dancer Bay is, how good of a singer Iris is. Kara, I think she said she wasn't gonna leave in the near future. Like, I think the next, like, 3 years or something like that, she said. Yeah, I think it's probably the internet being over, like, reactionaries, you know? Because, you know, of course the internet's doing that. But I think, like, it does suck that Fauna's, like, never gonna come back. Right? Like, that's the thing that hurts the most, I feel like, with the graduation announcement. I think that's why, like, there's a little more of this sinking feeling. Because even though Ame and, like, well, Chloe obviously hasn't done yet, but, like, Ame hasn't fulfilled the obligation yet. There's nothing for her to have come back for, right? Like, for Ame to have come back for, there's been, like, no big event or anything. So it's so funny to me that people are like, oh, this affiliate just means, like, nothing. Because I guess they saw, like, her go indie and then be like, oh, okay, yeah, so they're just not going to be involved at all, which I feel like it's still like, okay, you should probably wait longer, because, like, again, there's been, like, nothing big for them, like, big for her to, like, come back to, right? I would wait until, like, Ian Recco, right? To see that, right? See if she comes back, or even, like, another concert before we, like, jump to that conclusion. But I think it's, like, she still very clearly likes doing concerts, you know? Like, she still does. But yeah, I'm sure like the one time thing. I did find it funny because someone said like, oh, the Break of Dimensions will just be seen as PTSD for Halloween fans. I found that funny. There was also one during Fauna's announcement stream, which is like 5 minutes, which I felt like was, well, I'm drinking tonight. And yeah, I feel like Kiara's reaction was like everybody's reaction when it happened. I'm gonna see if any of the other members like have said anything. You know, they probably have. Yeah. It is funny though, because children support the ability want to see fly and succeed. Yep. It's from Cali. Like, yeah, that's what hurts, right? Because, like, I think, was it Fauna that said, like, oh yeah, she's still gonna be friends with them, right? But, like, we just won't see those interactions anymore, right? And that's what's the sad part about it. I mean, like, we can hear stories, right? Like, Bakura told a story of, like, Aqua when they did the climbing up a mountain, right? But, like, they're only stories at that point. You don't see the human interaction, right? That probably brought them together. So I feel like honestly it hurts harder as the fan. Because like, yeah, sure, it's gonna hurt hard for them because like I'm sure like they can't really play games together, at least on stream and all that, right? Like they really can't, like I don't even know if they could really be seen in public really. Like it would be really hard, like that especially I think they would have to make sure they didn't get spotted. But yeah, they can at least like interact with each other and like talk to each other. But like, yeah, the fans, like, we get none of that. You know, it's just done. Radio silence. I think that's what hurts most for like the fan. At least for me, anyway. Because like everything else about it is like, yeah, like especially since all of them are, I think, are basically just gonna come back as an indie. Like you're still gonna see them, right? Well, I think someone even said that too. Like when they're for the Aqua and Ame, right? Like they've gone indie, but they stopped watching them because like they liked what like Holly was doing and like seeing those interactions between the people, like the collabs. And so obviously when they're by themselves, you know, like obviously they'll still have their fan base from their corporate, right? But yeah, it just hurts because you won't see those interactions, at least for a very long time, and that would have to be like the whole company collapsing, right? But even then, like someone probably would buy those rights. Like, I mean, I guess like they would show up, it just would have to be like their PLs or ALs, you know, alternate lives. You know, like it would definitely be weird. I mean, to be fair, I think Hollow Stars does the same thing. Some of them also have like, or like PLs that they're still active on, stuff like that. For like non-Hollow collabs, even though like a lot of Hollow Stars do out of Hollow collabs, but you know. Yeah, this one will hurt. But I do think more than ever, and I even said it yesterday, like Fauna was the only thing that was keeping me like thinking that they weren't going in the idol direction, and now literally the day after she made the announcement, yeah, I think that's the direction Cover's going. all right, and Hololive is going. And I think even like Pecora said it, but someone said like, oh, Pecora said that like live events make so much more money than streaming. So yeah, they're probably gonna have to follow the money, do all the live events. I think that's why there's been so many solo lives, right? Marin, Fubuki, Miko, I'm sure Suise's had one in there. Like, I think that's why there's been so many, is because they make so much money, right? And there's even Breaking Dimensions. I think also Connect the World was last year or something like that, right? Like, they've had so many concerts. So I think that is part of it. I do think they are moving in that direction. And you can maybe even argue that's why they made Device too, was to move more in that direction as well, because that was the point of Device. Like, they were saying it was a more musical group. So yeah, I think also you could argue Device was them moving towards that direction as well. I still don't really understand the Gigi hire then. Like, I feel like she's just probably like, oh, we need like a stream person, right? Like, because I think they just see streaming as like an advertisement thing. I mean, like, maybe they still have like the like, oh, streaming is like on the mind, but like, I feel like even if at the point that like Fauna's leaving, right? Like, I don't think you're doing the streaming side of it justice then, right? Like, I think you're kind of overlooking them. Which, I mean, like, they do have a lot of members. They can, if they choose to, right? Like, if they want to do that, then, like, they can choose to, like, deal with a few losses that were more streaming focused, right? And then continue on their path. But, yeah. I think Gura has said, though, like, she really likes being an idol, though, right? I think. I don't remember where I got that, but I'm pretty sure, like someone said it. Like, she like, likes the idol part of it, and like, it would make sense because she's like shown up in like the 3D lives and like the freaking Hollow medley at the beginning of the year. It's like, yeah, it seems like she mostly just shows us for that stuff. And like, yeah, she's probably gonna be back for like Fauna's leaving. And someone did point out, like, it does suck that like the only times like Grid is probably going to be streaming is like graduations at this point. But yeah, I think this is signaling a big switch. And like, I think people are getting that, but like, I don't think it's necessarily like, I mean, yeah, it is more profitable for them, right? I guess like the people who like had the understanding that Hololive is a streaming agency are feeling betrayed. But like, if you look at the history of Hololive, like even with Sora, like her dream was to be an idol, and like Yago wants to turn into like Disney. So like, if you just look at those two things, I feel like they made it pretty clear what they wanted to do. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but to me that seems like they were very clear on what they wanted to do. Right? They wanted to probably become more of an idol group. I think they just use streaming as like to gain that audience at first and then pivot. I mean, maybe it only happened because they went public. But I've also heard, and Yago himself said, like, they had to go public or else someone else would have bought them out. Right? So they had to. So I think also it's like an unfortunate circumstance Hollow is like covers in. Right? It's like, yeah, now they're just at the mercy of a bunch of corporate donors. And it's like, yeah, unfortunately, it's just that companies, they'll eventually like have bad PR. Like, they'll eventually have to go down this path. And again, I think it's just by capitalism. If we were more in like the workers got to choose how the companies went, right? Like, yeah. It just sucks. Yeah, I do think it's also though like Yago and the people who are higher ups beforehand. And I mean, I think someone also brought a good point, like maybe it was something to do with HN leaving too, right? That could have also signaled something. I thought it was like family stuff, but I think that's why she went the long hiatus, and then she said like she was leaving. So like that also could be a good point that I didn't think about, was more of like looking into like HN leaving. Because I'm sure like she was a pretty higher up. She was one of the first 3 people that started Hololive, right? Like she had to have had a pretty influential position. But yeah, it's like maybe something happened there that even like HN wasn't happy with. I don't think it would be though, because like I feel like she would support Sora no matter what. Well, maybe not necessarily that, but like Sora's dream was to be an idol, so like I feel like HN would follow that, right? Like if they went in the direction of being an idol, like I think HN would still be on board with that. I mean, yeah, maybe how it's being handled, right? And then that's where the disagreement is how it's being handled, but yeah, I don't know. And I've said it many times, but I do think this is signaling a shift in how it's being ran. Which I actually kind of wish I was there, like when it was streamer oriented, because this was probably a bad year for that to happen then, because obviously it seemed like there's a change happening, but what are you gonna do? Yeah, it's not really a whole lot I can do. Again, like I think that's the part that it sucks the most. Like if they could still interact with each other like on camera, I think it actually wouldn't hurt as hard. It only hurts because we won't see these interactions anymore. Because like, I could handle potentially like them not showing up. I mean, it would be kind of sad for like anniversaries, right? Like that'd be kind of sad, but like I think like I would overcome that. I think it's the fact that we won't see them interact with each other unless the other people leave or the company burns to the ground. Like it just implodes on itself or collapses. And like that's kind of sad to think about. Right, because like I feel like people were starting to catch on, like Gigi and Fauna had a great dynamic, right? And it's like a dynamic that I feel like people were like, we didn't get for long enough. I mean, even Fuamoko, like on the in their tweet was like, we did not have enough time. Like we had a lot less time than we thought we did with Fauna. I feel like they tweet something like that before too. With someone else leaving. But yeah. Fauna was one of my favorites too. I said it, like her and Mume were one of my 2 favorites. Fauna was probably top 3. If I were to guess. I think it was Ina, like Mume or Fauna. Something like that. So yeah, that does hurt for me. Yeah, I guess I could see like other ones leaving, like Ina, maybe. Because it could be also like necessarily like they just don't want to deal with the idol stuff all the time. So like I feel like Ina would be one. Like Raura maybe, and like CC maybe. Like Shiori for sure. I feel like will be one that does leave. Like if there's a Shiori announcement, I would not be surprised, and I feel like it just like confirms what I'm thinking even more. And I think a lot of people who have like cooler heads, for lack of a better term, right now are thinking with the pivot. It's like if Shiori leaves, that's a big sign. I wish I knew JP better for that. Like Kyla, I feel like would be one, right? Because she's more focused on streaming. Bibu, but like Bibu just moved to Japan, so like I don't think she's gonna leave for a while. Like I find it weird if she would just move to Japan and then like 6 months later be like, okay, I'm leaving. Unless something really drastic happens. But like other than that, I don't think that's happening. Yeah. I wish I knew JP better so I could like give names for them too, but I don't really know like who's streamer first over there. Compared to who's more music centric. Yeah. Yeah. It does remind me though of like this might be a little messed up, but like when my cat died like the day before my Christmas break, so I spent like my whole Christmas break crying because that was the first time I lost a pet, and it was also like 3rd grade. So obviously I was devastated. So yeah, I was basically crying the whole break because of that. Obviously it's not the same as like me straight bawling, but yeah, it's rough. It does suck too because her last stream is that Friday, that first Friday of January, which I'll just be off of school. And from what I remember from the AME graduation announcement, oh boy, I'm gonna have fun that whole school day. Yeah, that's totally not gonna be playing in my mind or anything. I think it'll be better though, because it'll be a normal school day. The thing with the AME graduation, it happened on a freaking pep rally day, so I'm just like at the last like 40 minutes just hanging out in the bathroom because I don't want to be in the freaking auditorium, right? Like listening to loud stuff, so I'm just listening to music, just thinking about that announcement. Because that's the thing, I sit on stuff a lot, right? Like it's why I did the impromptu stream, because I was just going to sit on this and not be able to sleep. Like that's why I'm talking about this, because I realized after I did the AME stream I felt a lot better about it. And I think it did help that she's affiliate. I think with Fauna, I'm probably not going to really recover probably until she goes back on her PL, maybe, and then we just kind of get used to it. I think that's really going to be the only way that happens, so I think it's just going to be a pain for like 2 months straight. Maybe even longer for it to like really catch up to us. Like, yeah, no, she's going to be indie again. But yeah, I just talking about this stuff so I can get it out. Like there's a reason why I call my like streaming sometimes like therapy. It's like, because talking about it is like the best way to get this stuff out, right? Otherwise you're just bottling it up. I'm someone like who likes complex ideas and like serious conversations too, so I think like I thrive better in stuff like that. But yeah, it hurt, that's for sure. Like I think it hurt for like everybody in the EN community, like Fauna leaving, right? And even like I think a JP Clipper, right? Like they first got into EN because of Fauna. So yeah. I think there's just gonna be a pain there that's gonna stay there. What's weird, like, because I'm thinking about like if Hall of Complete collapse, right, and like all of them are like indies at that point, like I don't think it's gonna hurt that much, you know? Because like then they can interact with each other, and not only that, bring in like other people to collab with, right? Like I think in a way, if the company goes down, which like obviously I wouldn't hope for that to happen, but if it were to like implode on itself, I think some of those like wounds, right, would like be healed, because then they can have these collabs and we can see these interactions again. It's like it's very interesting, like just knowing how my brain works and like that, you know. And I don't know, because like obviously Sana's been gone for so long, and well, I think she's like streamed very sporadically, right? It's like I don't know if they'd be willing to like have them talk to the same people, right? But like you know, I don't think they'd let that happen. Like, I think it's just done, you know? They're graduated, they're done. You're not seeing them anywhere near Hololive. And like, that's not like a bad thing, it's just like the harsh reality. Like, you're just not seeing them anymore. Which, again, is why I think Fauna being a graduation hurts so much. Because at least if it was affiliate, we could see her sometimes, but... Because honestly, I thought that's what it was going to be, because I thought if anybody would do, like, the part-time thing, that would be Fauna. But no, she just did a full-on graduation. Like, I'm saying, like, affiliate, and then, like, coming back a decent bit. But yeah, no, she did a full-on graduation, which I was surprised about. Yeah, because that also means like Noe and Reko, stuff like that. I mean, she did play a good role with like Fauna Mart, but it was like, I feel like a sub thing compared to some of the other stuff. Well, to be fair, another like one of the main plot points was freaking Jonathan, her Pearl, which she's also not there. Oh man, how's chapter 2 gonna be, man? Like that's. And I'm sure chapter 2 is centered around freaking Council 2 or like Promise. Oh man. I just realized that too. Then I think chapter 2 is going to be based around Promise. And she's not going to be there anymore. Man. Like, yeah, she's gonna be back. It's great because she's already posted on her PL, and she even said like streaming is still her dream job. She's gonna be back. It's just, you know, it's just the relationships, man. I think that's what draws a lot of people to Hololive, and what draws them to corporations is the relationships. And so, like, yeah, obviously seeing one person gone, and you probably won't see them again, either like in a while or ever. Like, it just hurts. Now, maybe some of the more streamer-oriented ones will reunite with each other, but I do think the people like Callie, I mean, to be fair, Callie does stream on another place too, so I don't know if that would open up for her as well. Like, she could still have those interactions on that account. But I think a lot of people who don't have that, like I think like Bay, Iris, Suisse, like I'm thinking of like all the music oriented ones. I don't think you'll see that anymore. You won't see any of those interactions. Which, to be fair, I don't think Fauna and Suisse had any interactions with each other, but like, you won't see those interactions with each other anymore. And again, I'm not sure how it works with like all the other stuff, because I haven't really looked at it, but yeah, it does hurt. It was funny though, I was looking on Twitter, like, because Survivor Series for WWE was today, and people were like, oh man, yeah, it's a great day, great vibes, and then just, yeah, me over here being a Hololive fan's like, huh, yeah, great vibes. Yeah, like, Fauna, I feel like was like the anchor of like streaming for them, dude. Like, you're losing your anchor is the thing. I feel like she was the one keeping like all together, and she's like gone now. You've lost your anchor, you know? Like, it's gonna be so weird, right? And I think it's when they're gonna move on. Like, this, it's the thing that sticks out to me the most, is just it's a graduation, it's not an affiliation. God, like, that's what's so weird about it. just with her closing statement, and then freaking, it's a graduation. It's not even an affiliation. Like, what she said sounds like she'd be an affiliate, but she's not. So, like, I would like to think it would just be her being like, oh, freaking, I just want to be an indie now. Well, like, she said that, like, it's not that I want to not be here, or it's not that I don't want to be an idol, right? Like, I feel like you would still want to keep your options open from that. I don't want to judge her, but it's just like, I'm just trying to be in her shoes, and it's just like, I feel like if you say something like that, you would still want to keep your options open, right? And like still keep that door open. I don't think you would want to close it like what the graduation seems like. I mean, unless like Fauna proves wrong, or like maybe someone down the line, like a graduation it doesn't mean they're gone forever. But I don't know, man. I think graduation doesn't mean they're gone forever. It's like, it's just so weird for me for her to say that stuff and then like close the door, right? That's what I find weird about it. Ugh. I would say the announcement's been made. There's no there's no changing her mind on it. Right? We can't like convince her to be like even like affiliate, which I think people have a negative connotation towards affiliate, but again, like there's been nothing of note for Ame really come back for, except I guess that racing thing. But even then, that was like so simple. So like I just don't. I think you just need to be more patient on the affiliate thing, on them actually like showing back, coming back up. But yeah. I mean, yeah, Holo X has also been going through it too, because Roha apparently had a thing where you're so stressed out you can't speak, which I didn't even know was a thing. Kind of worried that I might get that soon. I hope not. It's great too, because I have to do like freaking college stuff too, because we are not like a family that can like, we have to do cake as many scholarships as we can. And like, it's so hard to balance it when like all of this is happening. Like I just became a fan and all of them are leaving. It's just like my mental can't take this, man. Like I'm staying strong, obviously. Like I'm not saying like I'm gonna, like, you know, it's not like DEFCON 5 or whatever, right? But it's just like, man, I feel like I'm just in no mental to like then be like, okay, yeah, time to do college stuff. Like, no. I need like a break or something. Maybe ask for like another day off, like Monday or something, like a mental health day. So, oh my god, dude. I wanted to like edit a clip too from that last stream too, like the pizza thing being the most space take, and it's like, oh man. And then also was the freaking drivers thing. Ugh. Because it's like, yeah, they'll be back, great. It's just like, oh, well, there's goes those interactions with each other, you know? And this is coming from someone who doesn't, like, talk to anyone. He talks to, like, one person. Talks to, like, one person, his mom. Like, the collabs made it so good. I'm tearing up. I think it's fine, I just let it go. You know, just let it happen. You know, just let the tears go. Because like that's the thing too with parasocial relationships, like, and YV2 being a new thing and like corpos and stuff too, like, it just hits you so hard. Like, obviously in the last like decade, I was watching stuff before this, like 12 years, I think even. There was obviously nothing like this, right? You would watch people and like they're, for lack of better, like for sake of comparison, indies, right? So it's the only way you really would never see them again is if they got like canceled or something, or now in more modern times retire. But obviously like they've had like a decade of content, so I feel like it doesn't, like, it still hurts, but like I feel like it wouldn't hurt as bad, because you kind of come to terms with it. They've been doing it for a while, but like, dude, these are like a few years at a time. I feel like it is like too short, and like obviously like you respect their opinion and what they want, but in the world of YouTubing, man, it just feels like it's too short. Even Fuamoko said it, like they didn't have enough time. It's all just happening so fast, and like maybe it wouldn't feel that way if I was a Whole Life fan like any year before this, right? But man, it's because I became a fan this year. Like it feels like it's all happened so quickly, and I think the more music-oriented members of Whole Life, like we won't see them interact with the more streamer-focused ones. Kind of just looping back around to the overall thing of like where I think cover is going to be going, and like all the streamer-oriented ones leaving. So, yeah, it hurts. Again, I'm not like blaming anyone. If anything, I'd probably be blaming the investors, but and our political systems and like economic systems that just allow that this is how companies are ran. It's not with the actual people a part of the company. It's whatever messed up system we have now. You hate to see it. I mean, maybe with this though, there is some nuance, because you will see them interact with each other, like on the indie scene, possibly more, because there are going to be more leaving. Like I'm almost sure of it. Like it would hurt a lot harder, like with Ame, obviously before we knew all this was happening, or even like Sana or Coco, right? Like those were kind of isolated, and like very sporadic, and so yeah, those probably hurt a lot with the relationships, because like obviously cover seemed like it was still going strong. Someone said like the peak of it was like Rushia, like once Rushia got fired, then they've been going downhill from there, which I feel like is kind of crazy, but okay. Yeah, because I don't think cover's gonna go under. They're still adding more members and they're losing, right? And people are like comparing to Niji, but like Niji, I saw that apparently Niji had like 19 graduations, which like, yeah, that's a lot. Whereas it's only 4 for now, but I do think that number's gonna be higher. Again, I don't think it's like the company treating them poorly. I think it's just they're going in different directions. And again, just seeing the connections between the talents themselves. Like we won't get to see that as the fans anymore until, like, again, cover goes under, or like they just leave, like another talent leaves and like joins them. Other than that, it's not happening. So yeah, 2025 is going to be a wild year. Like people say 2024 is bad. I think 2025 is going to be equally as bad for Hollow fans as far as people leaving. It's not going to get any better. Like if you're more in line with the idol formula, like format and formula they're going for, like you can stay. But if you are the ones who are like more streamer focused, right, then yeah, I think it's hard to make a case for still sticking with Hololive. because I do think they're going more in that direction. Yeah. Like, I just wish that Fauna at least did affiliation, like, affiliate. Like, because I get people, like, I've given up, but I've said multiple times, like, Ame has not had any opportunity really to use it. Yeah, I think the main people coming on Fauna leaving is basically come and gone. Yeah. It hurts. Because I do wish she at least said affiliate so she could have come back and still been with them. Because I feel like the hard decision necessarily wasn't if she wanted to leave or not. I think it was if she wanted to do affiliate. Like, honestly, Ame's choice might have made it so Fauna's decision was a little bit delayed, because then she was evaluating that if she wanted to do that. Yeah, it hurts. What a time to be a new Hololive fan, huh? You know, and I've been talking about my mom too, and it's like, where do you think it's gonna turn around for us? It's just like, I need something emotionally, I think, of just like good hope, goodwill, because this is too much, man. It really does feel like the freaking Batman comic thing that people always do. Of like holding his parents while they're like frozen solid. It's like, I can't take this anymore. I need something positive to happen. And like when I'm so like into politics too as a leftist, and just see how that's gone too. It just all looks so bleak. And I just want like something, like anything. Like, I don't want to act like Fawn's banning me, because I didn't even watch her streams. I just watched her clips, but I just kind of wish she went the affiliate route. Because honestly, I probably wouldn't be tearing up if it was just an affiliation thing. But she said graduation. And yeah, I really like their banter and their interactions with each other. And after a month, we're not going to see it again, at least for a while. The world's a cruel place. It really is. It's also about powering through, overcoming through these situations, you know? And people are gonna be like, oh, we cried over an anime girl leaving. And it's like, oh yeah, I mean, parasocialness, that's how it works. That's how parasocialness works. And I think people just didn't realize it, like, with content creation until it became, like, VTubing corporations, because, like, what was the stuff that people were under, like, MSNs or whatever? Like, even then, those people could collab outside the MSN. So it's not even, like, a good, like, comparison. I just hope that maybe, like, Cover opens it up so even their alternate lives, they can do something, but I highly doubt it. I doubt they would let them collab with them, right? Because I feel like they would have opened it up with Kason, and they would have opened it up with whoever Sana's other persona is. And I don't think that's happened and that ever will happen. So yeah, like the thing is, I was tearing up at the Yame one and it was just affiliate. Like I can only imagine if that was like a graduation. Well, I guess I'm experiencing it now, huh? Like I really shouldn't be surprised that this is happening, but it still hurts, you know? Yeah. I mean, it doesn't help everybody being so negative about it too. We're playing Monster Hunter. Yeah. Yeah, everyone's trying their best, but it's so hard, you know? It really is. Because yeah, it seemed like Bibu and Raura postponed their streams because I guess they didn't know this was happening until obviously like a couple hours before. Yeah, it sucks. Again, I just wish it was an affiliation. That'd make me feel so much better. You know, I think all of the EN branch was like saplings deep down, you know? Like seeing how I'm acting. I mean, I think we're all like secretly fans of every single member, but man, I think it's fine just to let this fly, you know? Let my emotions run. I don't know how my next stream's gonna look because I stream tomorrow 1:30. So we'll see. I'm probably gonna get blasted with other people's reactions to Fauna's announcement and on Eclipse, because that's simply what happens. It's what happened with Chloe, and I didn't even realize it. Yeah. It's so hard. I just wish like the more friendship element wouldn't be taken away, at least to the fans, you know? That's what's the hardest. Because the thing is, Fauna was like, I feel like more a solo streamer, right? So I think ultimately she won't lose much of a following, but when those collabs happened, you know, it was great, you know? It's one of the great things of life, seeing other people getting along and having fun, entertaining others. You know, that's one of the great things of life. And I think just knowing that we're not going to see it anymore, at least with those people specifically, it hurts. It really hurts. And yeah, I think I'm just gonna need a little bit of time, then fail after. Maybe once her final stream happens. This is my reaction like now. I'm definitely not watching her last stream because I already talked about it. Like, I don't want to cry for like 3 hours, like while I'm still living with my mom. Like, I'd rather do that by myself. Be bawling my eyes out for 3 hours. So yeah, I don't think I'm gonna watch her last stream. It would just hurt too much. I didn't think I'd get to an hour and a half, and maybe I dragged it out a little bit. It's just, I'm just kind of sulking on it. And I think just letting the emotions flow is the healthiest and best way to go through this. You know? I mean, I'm gonna miss her, that's for sure. With Hololive anyway. She'll be back, but I'll miss her with Hololive. And with all the members. Can you throw something good at me, Life? Please? That'd be great. I'd really appreciate that. Life could throw something good at me. You know, I'm gonna pull that Kiara tweet. I think that's how like everybody feels. Sorry, I'm doing it differently, but I wanna go back to that Kiara tweet. Yeah. Not again. I think it's the best way to put it. Just not again. Like, we've already lost so much, and it's just, we're losing some more. I think that's what hurts so much, because it is the stream-centered ones that are gonna hurt more, right? Because they're the more personal ones, right? They're the ones you interact with more. That's why Fauna hurts so bad. It was because she was streamed first. Like, obviously every member's gonna hurt, but I think ones that, like, have not streamed as much, like, Gura's probably gonna hurt for, like, older viewers, right? But I feel like for people, like, who started watching around me when Gura's barely streamed, it's not gonna hurt that much. Because, like, she hasn't streamed. And I even saw, like, or when Ame left, like, people were like, I already see Myth as, like, 3 anyway, because, like, Gura barely streams, right? So, like, I think if something like Gura happened, like, that's not gonna hurt as much, at least for me, and, like, probably newer fans. But, yeah, I'm sure for the OGs, like, yeah, that's gonna hurt. But, yeah, I think Fauna is one of those, like, she has been an anchor for their streaming for so long, and now she's gone. And she's never coming back. Because that's what graduating means. They're never coming back. At least with the affiliate, like, they have a chance to come back. Like, I think that's where it hurts too, is like Ian Recco. She's not gonna be back. And it seems like chapter 2 is gonna be based around Promise. And she's not gonna be there anymore. So, I mean, unless Ian Recco chapter 2 happens within this next month. I highly doubt it though. Because I feel like they would have announced it sooner. And they haven't announced it at all, so... Yeah, I think chapter 2 is gonna happen and she's not in it. And then that song's gonna come out and it's gonna hurt even more. Yeah, no, that stream announcement did really feel like a doomsday timer. Because everybody knew. Everybody knew. I'm gonna get a tissue. Everything surrounding it, yeah, no, that's it. It screamed that that was gonna happen. And again, I just wish it was an affiliate, not a full-on graduation, but that happened. I guess the thing too, even with like Coco and like, well, like at least Coco, like they still have interactions like the other members, but again, we just don't see them. Unless like the Hollow Girls, like the JP Hollow Girls, like have different things like IRL. So like you don't technically do see those interactions. It's just I haven't been paying close enough attention, but yeah, I don't know. It just hurts. Yeah, it's just crazy how parasocial relationships work, because I think Fauna is the one that people are gonna be the most parasocial to. So it really stings. Maybe Callie. Or like Kiara. Maybe Myth members, but I think for a lot of people, especially newer fans, it's gonna be Fauna. Like ever since Fauna debuted, Fauna's gonna be the one people are most parasocial with. Just because of how often she streamed and how often she like yapped and like, hey, we're having conversations, like yay, like these like fun conversations like with a friend. You know? And like again, she's gonna be back. So you can have those. But she's just not gonna have any more with other members. Ugh. I mean, there are people who cry themselves to sleep. Maybe that'll happen with me. Or I need to listen to music for like 2 hours straight until I maybe get over it a little bit. I highly doubt it though. I think this one is gonna be too much for even music to overcome. I'm hoping with me talking about it though, it sets in a little easier. Because there's really no silver lining to it, like, because that's my biggest thing that's making me sad is the no relationships thing, but there's no silver lining to it. At least Affiliate has a silver lining to it that like you can look forward to. There's no silver lining to it. As a fan, none. There's no silver lining. Because for the talent, yeah, they still get to talk to them. Like, yeah, they get to hang out and still be friends. All that, but for the fans, a graduation, there's no silver lining for seeing those interactions again. Again, unless the company goes under, which I don't think Cover will, or the other members leave. Which again, I think the stream-oriented ones will leave. Like, I would not be surprised to see like a Shiori leave or something like that, right? I would not be surprised at all. But yeah, it just hurt. Or like, yeah, I think like them having throat problems is gonna be even more problematic, right? I mean, I guess like, yeah, streaming also uses your throat and your voice, but I think it's more than that. Like with singing, like you have to have a good singing voice, right? You can maybe stream on like a bad sore throat, right, and like sound raspy. You can't sing like while really going through that. So yeah. It really is like, you have to treat it like losing a family member or something. Like, just cherish the times that, not necessarily that they have, because it seems like they pretty much always come back as indies, right? But cherish the times they have with their friends, with their current members, right? That seems to be more what it is. So like, it's not necessarily like completely losing someone. It's more like you're losing the relationships, right? Like their friends, right? Like their interactions, their banter, like that's what you're losing, and you have to learn to accept that. Not necessarily the person themselves, which is very weird. I'm sure even for like people who've lost like family members or something like that, like it's still like a weird feeling, right? Because like they will be back, right? They're like, it's kind of like a reincarnation, but like it's almost like their relationships are reset, right? I guess that's a better way to put it, right? Like it's like they've been reincarnated, but their relationships are just reset. And that's super weird. Like that's super hard to like grasp and like understand, you know? And I think that's the main issue. Like, you have to learn to deal with that as a fan anyway. You have to learn to deal with that as a fan. Or like, yeah, if you really like their model too, like Fauna's model is pretty good. I feel like there were some weird things with the face, but like sometimes she'd like look creepy, like or like just something would look off unintentionally, but I really like the model. And yeah, that model's never being used again. Because even if cover goes under, I assume a company's gonna buy it, right? So that means the rights go to that person too. So she's never getting that model back. Which, I mean, I'm sure for the talents is probably better, because technically they didn't come up with that model. I think they can customize it a little bit, but they're kind of just given like a template. So like, yeah, I'm sure they're happy to have their indie form, because that will like represent them fully. But yeah, it does suck, because like those models then are just basically gone. You know, we'll like never see them again. They're just like more than just history at this point. Like, should be put up in a museum. And it sucks. Yeah, we're almost at an hour and a half. I might end it. Oh man, it was funny though, because before that I thought I saw like the announcement was like 7, so I was like, oh shoot, I'm gonna take a shower, and then like at like 6:50 or something like that, so like in time I can just like gather what people have been saying and just basically confirm that it was a graduation. Well, I think in my mind that was gonna be another affiliation, but obviously that didn't happen. And then I looked at it and then it said it was 8. So I assume the person that I looked at was like Central Time when they were posting that, but yeah. So I did have to wait like another hour. Another hour is added to the Doomsday Timer, essentially. Yeah. I'm gonna miss the interaction they have with each other. Like, I think that was the thing also when I noticed with Aqua, like, in her clips too, people were like, oh, I'm gonna miss this, right? And it was usually with, like, other members, right? That's typically when people would post on it. And I think also, though, Aqua, like, it wasn't sure if she was gonna be back as an indie. So I think there was also some, like, solo clips, too, that, like, people were like, I'm gonna miss this, but I do remember there was also some people that are like, I'm straight up just gonna miss this banter, right? That's something gonna happen with Fauna. Because, like, we aren't gonna miss her. Well, we are, but, like, you know, she's gonna be back. So, like, yeah, I don't know. It's just gonna be super weird. And again, like, the full-on graduation announcement is what threw me off. Like, not even affiliate, full-on graduation. Yeah, we're never seeing those interactions, never seeing that outfit again. I know I'm just repeating myself a lot, but I'm just going through my thoughts, you know? Never seen that model be used again. Once January 3rd's up, that model's never being used again. Once January 3rd's up, we won't see this banter with all of the other Hollow members for a while, or maybe ever. It might be the last time we see them interact with each other. Yeah, it's a hard thing to take in. And again, I'm hoping maybe like music or something can help calm me down so I can sleep. I don't think I'm gonna be able to sleep. I have a headache right now. I think that headache's just gonna carry over to tomorrow. I think my Sunday stream is probably gonna be a short one because I think I'm gonna have a headache from not sleeping well. And I might ask my mom if I can take Monday off as like a mental health day. We'll see. Uh, yeah, I think that's everything. Yeah, because I just don't see cover going under. Like, if Niji hasn't gone under at this point, I don't see cover going under at this point. Like the fact that Niji Sanji's still up, right? And, like, they're still going, like, that shocks me. Like, you lose 19 of your talents and you're still, like, okay and, like, operational. Like, that's crazy to me. Yeah, I think Hololive's kind of going through the same thing Niji is. And honestly, I don't see him winning VTuber Org of the Year now. With all this that's come out. You know? Because people are just taking it poorly. I think it's just they're changing, like, directions. I don't think it's necessarily anything too malicious, but I think it's just they're changing more to an idol company than a streaming agency. But I guess it's just VTuber agency. Like, yeah, I think they're becoming more idols. It's like, I don't think it's anything necessarily like malicious. I think it's just they're moving a different way, and obviously I think Western fans are gonna feel betrayed because I think they felt like it was more of a streaming, like, oriented org, like, company, so they're not gonna like it. And obviously the people who were streamer first are gonna start leaving. So yeah, I think Hololive is gonna go through a weird, like, transition phase where they're gonna lose a bunch of talent, but then, like, probably slow down quite a bit in losing talent. Because I was gonna do the whole, like, oh, they have like 2 to 3 years, like, the average job, but, like, I don't think that really lands here. I think it is more the direction is changing. It's not necessarily like, oh, like, that's just a natural scale of a job and, like, they're moving on. Because I think even Fauna said, like, I think if the situation was right, like, and she still agreed with how management was going, she would have stayed. She just didn't. So that's why she's leaving. Again, it is crazy to me that it's a full-on graduation, because I feel like I still want to keep the door open, but I mean, it's her life. She lives it how she wants it. I'm just thinking how I would do it in my shoes, you know? With, like, the little knowledge I have, right? Because obviously I don't know how the behind-the-scenes stuff is going. But yeah, I think that'll do it. I think I'm not getting teary-eyed anymore. Like, I'm not tearing up, so I think that's a good sign. I think I've gotten over it a little bit. It's gonna hurt again, like, and hit again when she leaves, because I think that's what happened with me and Ame as well, and I'm sure a lot of people with Ame. That's what happened as well. But this next month, you know, hopefully we can still enjoy it while it lasts. You know, still be filled with smiles and having fun, just like the last, like, 3 and, like, a quarter years have gone, you know? Like, why would it be any different, you know? Yeah. I'm just doing a lot of deep breaths. Like, I think I'm just soaking it in. That's why, like, I just can't end stream. Like, I'm just still, right? Like, I have no urgency or anything. Like, I'm just still. I do think I am getting better, though. There was, like, a big feeling in, like, my stomach and, like, basically my whole body. It's gone away now. I think it was the anxiety of it. I think I've gotten the anxiety out. Now it's just the emotions that linger on longer. You know? Which those ones hurt the most. Yeah, I think to answer my tweet though, this is, I think, the worst year to be a new Hololive fan. Because yeah, they did have people leaving, like, but that was like 1 or 2 people like a year, you know? And like, it's still only 4, right? It is less, but it's still crazy. Ugh. No, even Anya, it seems like she's changing her stream. Yeah. Yeah, no, like Fauna truly was the anchor of streaming. She truly was. I think that's why it hurts the most, you know? When you lose the anchor, like, it's a big deal. Yeah, I'll just buy these 10 factors and I'll get out of here. For real this time. The other times I go over it because I just am yapping about more stuff. Like, the last time was more lighthearted and, like, you know, obviously, like, I didn't have as much of an attachment to Chloe, and so, like, I can still, like, talk to it, like, normally, and then this one came. Didn't Callie feel this way with Ame, right? Like, compared to other members leaving? Right, like, the other members leaving, like, she was able to keep it together, and then with Ame leaving, she couldn't. Like, I think it was very similar, right? And I feel like I'm getting that same sensation with, like, Fauna. You know, yeah, it hurts. But again, like, the thing, I should be preparing myself for more like this. That's the thing. I should be preparing myself for more of this to happen. Because it's going to happen, right? More of this is going to happen. And so, like, I should just mentally prepare for that. And I think use the silver lining of, like, hey, then, like, the older people can, like, interact with each other then. Like, hey, we might give Fauna and Sana interactions again, you know? Maybe. I guess that's one silver lining. Even though I think it's like, well, maybe Ame, because I think it's like the only one. But yeah, I guess maybe Ame. Oh, HN's trending now. I think people are, I think yeah, they're saying like VTuber implosion. I don't think it's gonna happen. Like, yeah, I don't think VTubing as an industry is gonna implode. Yeah, it is interesting to think about it, like, once HN left and all of this happened. I don't think the VTuber industry is going to implode, though. Right? Because the thing is, they have followings. They're not gonna, like, lose it. Right? Like, that's just silly. The whole VTuber industry as a whole is not gonna implode. Most of these people are just gonna go right back to streaming. Like, I don't know if you've noticed, but the people who are leaving Hololive have just gone right back and streamed as an indie. So, like, yeah, sure, maybe VTuber orgs might be a thing of the past, right? But I don't think the VTuber industry as itself, I think it will always have its niche. that niche will always be there. And sure, you won't have the mainstream like what Hololive's been doing with like even the Dodgers game. You won't have that, but you will have a niche nonetheless. Like, I don't think because of this, like, oh, VTubing like as a whole is imploding. Like, no, I feel like that's stupid. VTubing will always have a niche. There's a reason why even on Twitch, which might I add, other than VShojo, which I feel like people I feel like don't really treat as an org. They like run a lot differently and still kind of feel like indies. But like, other than VShojo, I think like pretty much every other company is on YouTube, right? And Twitch still has a VTuber section. I don't think VTubing is going to die. That seems like way too big of an overreaction. I think VTubing will be fine. Because again, I think a lot of the Hololive talents are just gonna go back to streaming, you know? And I think some of them in their PLs, right, they do have their actual face, right? But I think for most of them, they're going to be VTubers again. So it's like, all right, so now they're just indie again. I just think it's a huge overreaction to say like the VTubing industry as a whole is going to implode. Like, yeah, sure, maybe like reaching out to normies, maybe. But like, I don't think it's going to die. I don't. I think it will always have its niche. Always. So yeah. That's, I guess, a good ending remark. And at least like not a super sad ending, you know? Where I was even like freaking crying during the stream. Is this the first time I'm crying stream? No, I think I rage cried a couple times. But I think this is like the first emotional cry I got. I think I was tearing up a little bit with Ame's announcement, but I think that was it. I don't think I full and cried. But I think I was also actually trying to keep it together, but with this one I was like, just let them run. You know? Just let it happen. There's no point. It's healthy to get it out anyway. So yeah, I think that's why I was more like that. But yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's also interesting though, like Fauna was one of those that like never really interacted with the other branches. It was really like when it was like those like company-wide events, right? Like the Sports Fest and stuff like that. So like, because even like GTA she didn't participate in because she couldn't speak Japanese, right? Like she couldn't speak it at least well. Thank you, Streamlabs. But yeah, like the fact that even like Anya was like, oh yeah, no, she's a big part of it. I do feel like she truly was the anchor. Like maybe not even of EN, just of Hololive. Sure, she wasn't pulling the most viewers, but the fact that she was still like, she only had like 900k subs, right? Like bottom half, I'd say, of like sub count, and she still pulled in top half viewers. Like that's an anchor right there. That's a big one. That's a big anchor. That's someone who's very important and very consistent, very reliable, right? And like you always value those people, right? Those people are always reliable, right? And I think people like Fauna is someone you value a lot. And I think them losing it, even like maybe if the company itself doesn't notice it, or like maybe some fans recognize it, I think it is going to be a big hit. And I truly think that this is actually when the change is, this is like the big change, like this is the moment when you'll notice the change happening. This right here. I mean, I guess you could argue with Achan, that was the change. I think this for sure though, is when you start noticing that's the change. Right? I think this is the moment that Hololive is changing. Right? They're not the like stream like VTuber agency that they once were. They're growing. They want to be like Disney, right? They want to do the live events, you know? So they're not valuing streaming as much. And so, yeah, you take like the biggest, like probably name that you think of when it comes to streaming in Hololive, and they're gone now. right? Like, I guess you still have like Gigi, Shiori, but they're way down there. Gigi is the lowest of Justice, and Shiori is lowest of Advent, and even like most of Device, or not Device, but Regloss has passed Shiori. So like, and Bibu, I guess you could also put under there, but yeah, again, 2 members of Regloss have passed Bibu. Like, that's the thing too, like for sub counts, it's just better to have songs, you know? That, and then that's obviously going to be seen as more profitable. And like, I think they like big number going up, you know? So they want to keep doing that. So yeah, I think this is the moment of, yeah, there's a change happening in Hololive, and the ones that were doing it more for the streaming, they're going to leave. So like, we should prepare for more leaving. Like 8chan, like it seems like in hindsight, 8chan leaving was a lot bigger of a deal than maybe people thought. And I think also like people even back then, when it did happen, were like, being like, no, don't undersell this. But I feel like even then people were saying to not undersell it. They undersold it themselves. Like, she was one of the 3 OG members of Hololive, right? Like, so I'm sure she had some like pretty high influence. So like, it could be that she saw the writing on the wall, or like after she left, then like, yeah, like freaking all those people came in to make those decisions, get the most money, right? All those investors, you know, because they even did the world tour thing. Yeah, there was also that. And like Ina's visa being denied, so they can't stream. Like, ultimately, if you're looking at it from a company standpoint, that's not a huge loss, right? Like, sure, you lose a little bit of revenue from like a few of those Ina streams, but like, it's not that much. So yeah, I think this is when the, like, we're noticing the change happening from being more of a stream, more like, seem like laid back kind of agency, to more mainstream, more idol company over VTuber. Because again, it is benefiting some people. It's just some people won't benefit from it, right? And the people who probably aren't going to benefit from it, they're leaving, you know? And I mean, yeah, that's just what you got to do. And I think someone also put it really good. Hololive now has become like the company if you want to be a VTuber, but also do something else on, like, on the side, right? And even then, like, I think it's probably even like, if you want to be an idol and but like VTuber on the side at this point, that seems like more of where they're going, right? That direction. Like, that's where I'm seeing it like go more, when I'm just reading from all of this. Like, I don't necessarily blame people. Like, again, if I blame anyone, it's the donors, because I'm sure they had some influence in it. But like, even like, I'm sure, because Yago, I think, was even like, oh, we want like Disney, and like, so originally wanted to be an idol, right? It's like, I guess you could point fingers at them, but it's like, I mean, I think secretly this is what they always wanted. I think the streaming thing was always the side thing, but then like it became the main thing, right? Because I think Sora originally was just a mascot, right? That was her role. And like, I'm sure like once she would have had the capability to make songs, like they would have done it. I think it's just because of the Christmas miracle that happened, what, 2017? Like, that launched Sora into being more of a streamer. So then they invest in the streamer market. But now that they have that audience, right, they can probably carry that over and like have these notable names, right? You have Suisei, you have Callie, you have Gura, right? You have these notable names now. You have Pecora, Marine. You have all these names, right? So now you can carry them over into the mainstream, right? And make them idols. So like part of me thinks that was always the goal with Hololive, was like they never were fully uh they never were fully like super duper invested in the streaming thing. It would make a lot of sense to me with what Sora's dream was going into it, what Yago wants to do now. Like, it makes so much more sense to me now. Like, if that the streaming thing was just, it happened to get big, right? So they just focused on that at first, right? But like, maybe in the back of their minds, they're just like, oh, well, we can do this to gain a fan base, right? And maybe we see his backfire, right? I know there's some people who are like, oh, well, I'm not watching this anymore because like they really clearly don't care about the like streamers or something. Like this isn't a streaming company anymore, like a streamer VTuber agency anymore. So like it could backfire, right? I think that's why they were trying to like, I think they were kind of like trying to transition it a little more softly, but I think the donors kind of just like, we gotta do this now. Because I do feel like they still probably would have done like just a smoother transition into that, if I were to guess. I still feel like with how Yago is and like feels towards his employees, I do feel like some of it, like his hand was forced. I think he would have done a smoother transition. Because it does seem like they're doing like a hasty transition, which means obviously like some of the talent's not going to like that. Especially the ones who were stream oriented, right? So like, and maybe the ones who like weren't used to the workload that they had before, right? But now they're like voice pack, right? We gotta get this stuff out. We gotta get this out, right? And like I think that's just very tiring, and like some people aren't used to that too. That's why Chloe left, like one of the reasons anyway. Like, I'm sure Ame kind of want a more laid-back experience, but also I'm sure it's a little bit like she wanted to mess around with 3D, like do more fun stuff in the streaming field. And they were obviously going to the idol field. So yes, I feel like honestly, if I were to guess, I do think it is a little bit of the donors, right? The shareholders. Like just hastily going into this, because I think that's even what happened like Smosh, right? And that like people turned on Smosh because of that, right? Like they hired a bunch of these people just to be like, we need these people. Even though people came for Ian and Anthony, they came for that friendship, right? I feel like something similar is happening with Hololive, where like maybe, because I think Ian and Anthony in a way wanted to have that transition. Actually, yeah, because like they were like, we should, like, we're fine with this, but we should like introduce them to like the audience. But like no, they just hastily threw them in. I feel like it's similar with Hololive in a way, you know? I feel like there could be some parallel there, in like a pretty intriguing like theory that Hololive and Cover are going through the same thing, right? And it's what's causing their more streamer-oriented talents to leave. And then obviously their fans get mad because these talents are leaving. Like, yeah, it's very interesting. Like that's... I didn't really think about that theory, but like it is a very, like, I feel like compelling theory to like at least, you know, entertain. Because yeah, I obviously watched Smosh. I think I watched early Smosh games, and then like into like as it was growing, like developing. And then the Defy shut down. And yeah, they've gone on record obviously talking about that a lot. But I am wondering if Hololive's going through something similar, where they're just like, I think they're doing this transition too quickly. And so like, I don't think necessarily the fans are noticing it. I think it's more like the talents are leaving because they're noticing it, and then the fans get mad because they're leaving. And then they're like, wait a minute. And like, yeah, maybe it is a Yago thing. Like, I'm sure he does approve some of it. And yeah, I think maybe the workload even though I think like even Lapis said like they get to choose their workload. So like I don't know, I still feel like that are like theories, like it is a compelling theory, right? To like see like the Smosh parallel, right? And just like maybe think like, is there something to this, right? Is it something like that maybe where like the donors are doing the transition fast. I'd have to see how many solo lives they've done, because the fact that they did like 4 in like 4 months or something like that, 4 or 5 months, like that seems like a lot. They did like the 3 events back to back, but like that's a streamer thing, so like I don't know necessarily if that would be a donor thing, because like I feel like at the end of the day that wouldn't give them too much money. And even one of those was Callie's idea. I think the 7 Days to Die thing was Callie's idea. Actually, yeah, and GTA was Suisei and Miko's idea. What was the thing before that? Was it Arc or something? Oh no, it was Ian Recco, you idiot. That one was the company's idea. Yeah, no, the other 2 were talent ideas, so. I mean, I guess, yeah, also the solo lives are probably the talent. Like, the talents want that. You know? Like, I'm sure they, like, pitch it in the boardroom, right? They're probably just like, solo life, you know? It's like, I don't know. I'd have to see that, you know, to think of that argument more. I've gone a half hour over. I think I've gone more over than I did last stream. I went over a lot there. Yeah, I sure did. Well, actually, I don't think I did, because it was supposed to be an hour and I went 38 minutes over. This one I technically went half an hour over. Well, I wasn't planning on going for an hour and a half. I think I was just planning on yapping for as long as I wanted to. I did not think it'd be 2 hours. But yeah. I think it is possible. It could just be like a hasty transition that like the donors or like the shareholders want more, and like they're trying to keep up with that, right? But like it's too quick of a transition, right, for the talent to catch up, and then obviously the talent leaves, which then trickles down to the fans. They get upset, right? Because if they stayed, I don't think people would mind the change as much, you know? I mean, there's some people, because I did see people be like, oh, I came back to Hall of GTA for the interactions with each other, right? So there were some people who were leaving. I don't think it would be this big of a change. If it was more smoothly, it still accommodated the streamer first people, right? And you still accommodated them. I mean, even then though, like 2 people leaving, like I don't think they, like I think it's really only until like Chloe a little bit, and I think like now with Fauna, that people are really like, what's going on? So like even if you had like 1 or 2 people leaving, I don't think people would have bat an eye at that. But I think if you just accommodate for them while it's still moving towards that model, right, and looking after your talent, I think people would have been okay with it. They would have been cool with the change, right? And they might even have noticed it, right, until like people like, hey, remember when like all I worked like this? And people like, oh yeah, that's interesting. But like I think because all these are happening so sudden, and like all of them are saying that they're disagreeing with management and that's why they're leaving, I think then people are like, well, what's going on, you know? Like I think that's the main issue that they have. And I think it's because of that harsh transition. I'm sure some of them weren't ready for it, right? Like that's an easy way to disagree, right? It's just a sudden transition that you're just not ready for, right? But like if you eased it in a little bit, you know, they might have been more accepting of it and like being willing to stick around. I'm sure some of them would have still left, right? But yeah, I do think part of it is probably like they're just doing a hasty transition from VTuber agency to idol company, and I think they're doing it too hastily for a lot of their talent. So like they're just leaving because it's too much. It's too big of a change, right? If it was like baby steps, I think a lot of them would stick around. I think that's actually my current theory, because I actually really like that I feel like it's a very compelling theory, and the fact that like Smosh went through something similar. I mean, to be fair, they had a whole company. These are just like shareholders, but I'm sure in a way like they make decisions, so it's like very interesting to think about, right? Yeah, I guess I shouldn't be like too addicted to that theory, right? Or like get like too attached to it, because like obviously it could be false. But I do think it is a compelling theory to at least look at. It's just like a that's interesting, right? Maybe that's what's happening. I feel like an interesting thing too, but like obviously wouldn't know until like a decade from now, is like how the newer talents are just coming in now. How long they're gonna stay around for. Like that's the thing. Yeah, it's really weird and interesting. I do think though the first person who probably leaves from ID is Kyla. Even though Diago said like he wanted to put Kyla in charge of like ID if he'd put CEOs in different branches, I think Kyla would be the first one to leave. Because I think all the rest of them like still like do music a decent amount, and Kyla is absolutely stream first. So I think Kyla would be the first ID member to leave. Yeah, I feel like also going back to the art theory too, because I also brought up like Yago saying like he wants to worry about the current talent, and like the fact that they're still leaving. I feel like it just has to mean to me that like it's out of their hands. I mean, I guess like obviously Yago could be lying, but I feel like it's a little bit out of his hands, because like I feel like he's had such a great track record of it too. Like I feel like it'd be so weird if suddenly like, and I mean it could just be like there's too many members at this point now to like accommodate for every single person, right? That's just become too hard, and like shareholders on top of that, like it's just too hard to accommodate for every single person. But it does make me think that the shareholders are doing something, because I feel like Yago's track record is just too good. I don't know. Like it just would be so weird to me that like you have such a good track record and then you just throw it all away, right? And I mean, yeah, it could be that he's just making mistakes, you know? He's just like being maybe a little too gullible by the shareholders, something like that, maybe. It's very possible. But yeah, I still feel like it's gotta be the shareholders or like something like that. It just would be too weird for me for Yao to have such a good track record and then just lose it. Which, I mean, I guess he still could, but like, I feel like it's a difference between like him making a mistake and being gullible by shareholders and being like complete evil CEO again, you know? I feel like the former is more likely than the latter for Yago. That's how I feel anyway. Yeah, I am way over. Yeah, I thought this would be an hour, and I went on for way longer. To be fair, I think I wanted to end it like hour 38, something like that. That was, I think, sometime in there, and then I just kept talking about the VTuber industry, if it's gonna die, and then the theory of what's maybe happening. Like, yeah. It's an interesting theory to like, you know, it's some food for thought, you know? I feel like it is a interesting idea. Like how Crony was trending though from that one tweet. Like that's crazy. Yeah, I did say it on the stream, but I think if there was another member of council to leave next, it would probably be Crony. It's Crony or Mume. I don't see Bayris leaving in a while. Well, I said council, but like, promise. Oh yeah, also another thing. When I said the full logistics thing last stream with like every member, it's like you know, all that. And then I threw like council in there. It's like, oh, I count promise because without Sana leaving, there wouldn't be promise. You can't even do the logistics anymore because Fauna left. So it's still true. I don't even need to go through that logistics debate anymore. I guess that's a silver lining. Why is that the silver lining, man? That sucks. I wish there was a better silver lining than that. Yeah, I should really get out of here. Yeah, they're still going with the Fauna stuff. Yeah, how much does that have? Is it 2.6 now? That's it? Yeah, it had a lot of views. 2.6, yep. I think there was another, like, Fauna's reply to it or something like that. Oh, no, yeah, it was her announcement stream. 3 million. Jeez. Like, that's crazy, too, because I even saw, like, a Hank Reed video that, like links get, like, downgraded, right? Like, they get shown less. It just hit 3.1. Like, that's crazy that it has 3.1 million views, man. If it's downplayed, right? Like, that's crazy. And the thing is, too, like, she sent that, like, before it was confirmed, obviously. Like, I think people basically knew that's what the announcement was gonna be, but... yeah, that's crazy. 3.1 million. Jesus, dude. I also Bay's everything will be okay. Well, that shot up a lot too. And then yeah, Crony tweeted the same thing. She retweeted Bay's everything will be okay, and then Crony tweeted herself. And I think that single-handedly made her trending again. You just literally need like 1,000 posts, I think, in like 2 days, and then you're just done trending. Yeah, I really wish I didn't get on Twitter when like Fauna was first trending, because then it was all the Doomer stuff, and then I was like, oh man. Like, I would have rather just seen the announcement like as a shock again, like it was with Chloe, like Ame. I hated that it was like dragged out, you know, because I feel like everybody knew that was what's gonna happen, because like with everything around it was just like, of course it's gonna be a graduate, like of course it is, you know. Like the question was, is it gonna be an affiliation or a graduation at that point? Like it wasn't possible it was gonna be anything else. Like maybe that she was doing bad like health wise, but I feel like Fauna would be the type to just say that. Same with like a break or hiatus, she would just say that. The fact that also the title was like, oh, is this serious this time? Like, yes. The comment was one singular green heart. Her PL had activity on it, like recently. Like everything pointed like, yeah, this is what is going to happen. There was no doubt about it. Now, like, again, there was still like maybe doubt if it was affiliation or if it was a graduation, because Ame technically did the same thing with the PL being active, and it turned out it was an affiliation, so it doesn't like cancel that idea out. But yeah, it was pretty obvious. Yeah, I really hope that like maybe they can just leave, and then maybe Hololive can recover, right? The people who are streaming, and then hopefully they can have a resurgence or recover in some way. But because like again, I think people should remind themselves too, as far as the total count of Hololive members, it's still +5, right? It's still +5 because it got 9 new members, right? Subtract 4, and if you count 8chan, 5. So like 4 or 5 members, right? If you count 8chan, right? So they still have a net positive number of members. Niji Shandi had 19 graduations this year. That's a lot. That's when it's cause for concern. I think with it just being 4 for now, it's a change in direction. It's not they're being treated horribly per se. And like again, I think maybe with the theory of like maybe it's a hasty transition, right? So like maybe it's not being done the best or the smoothest. But I don't think it's a full-on mistreatment like it was with Niji. or like them just being evil, like with Niji. I think they're just changing to probably be more idol company than VTuber agency. And so, yeah, obviously some people are gonna accept that, some people aren't. And again, I think how they're transitioning also determines if people leave or stay. So yeah, I think that's my closing words on that. I went even more over. Just hurts that's Fauna. And a graduation of that too. Like I could have handled an affiliation, right? I could have handled it. Graduation hurts. I can't handle it being a graduation. That sucks. that really sucks. Yeah. I might need to take that mental day Monday. I might need it. Yeah, I already did the outro stuff, so because also obviously nobody's watching me because you saw the chat box earlier. There's no chat. So I don't need to put the stuff in again. But yeah, I mean also again it's completely worthless because it's in the description. But hopefully I can be more cheery. I know that's what Fauna would want. That's another thing too, like people were like attacking Hololive and I think Fauna was like literally like don't do that, or it was something like that the fans were treating it that I feel like was just going directly against Fauna's wishes, but so I also thought that was kind of messed up. But I mean, to be fair, I think some people, like a lot of people, just saw the announcement and then give their reactions from that. They don't hear the whole video, even though it's like 5 minutes. Like even I was like, oh, I'm just gonna wait for a clip. But it's like it's literally 5 minutes, and I think the first like 20 seconds is nothing, and I think the last 20 seconds is like nothing. So, like literally nothing, like no audio, anything. So in reality, it's like 4 minutes. But yeah, I think also people are like interpreting her voice, and like I think they're going too crazy with that. I think it's that she just had a hard, like she said it was a hard decision, so I think like yeah, obviously it's hard to make that announcement that you're graduating. I'm sure it was hard for Chloe, I'm sure it was hard for Ame, and I'm sure it was hard for Aqua and Sana and Coco, right? I'm sure it was hard for all of them. So like yeah, I think it was more that. I don't think it's more of like, oh, the company did something to her, right? Like she's actually like feeling down. I guess it depends on how she's feeling her next stream, but it's like Fauna just to me does not seem like the person to put on a facade. If she's not doing well, she's not doing well. Like she'll show it. You'll hear it. I don't think Fauna would be the one to like do the like, oh, sunshine and rainbows like voice, even though she's like very clearly not alright. I think it's just because uniquely it's a graduation announcement. Obviously that hurts. It's not an easy thing to say. It's not easy saying goodbye. It's not. And that's the equivalent of it. So yeah. I think with that closing, I'll finally get out of here. I'm an hour over the time I usually get ready for bed. So I'm definitely going to bed at 2 again. I'm never putting on these flannel sheets. My mom's had them set up for like 4 days. So I think like literally the first day of Thanksgiving break, and I keep going to bed at 2. So I'm like, well, it's kind of too late to put on the bed sheets. I just want to go to bed. And I also have a freaking headache. So again, Sunday might be a short stream just from the headache. We'll see. Because I also probably won't be able to sleep well. I'm not noticing any tearing up or really emotions. I think I'm just kind of zen, in a zen state at this point. So yeah. I feel like I'm someone who like tries to keep it together being emotional, but like I get like that's not healthy. Like, I think if I was with one of them, and I'll use a wholesome example like Bae, whenever she watched like a Soul Life, it seemed like she would cry often. I'd be the one probably keeping it together. Well, the thing is also, it's like happy tears too, so like I don't think it would matter that much. I think more sad tears is like, yeah, you should let them go. But I think happy tears, it's fine if you keep them in and just like kind of joke around a little bit, because I feel like that's still using your, that emotion is still coming off in your jokes. But yeah, with sad tears, you just let them go. You know, that's the best way to deal with sadness. Just let the tears out. You know, let them ride. And yeah, I think eventually you hit that zen point. Until that day hits over graduation, and it's gonna hit real hard. It's gonna come all back. Yeah, hopefully this is the saddest I'll be for a little bit. Cause yeah, I feel like Fauna is gonna be the one I react the most to, and especially that was a graduation. This is probably the biggest I'm going to react. Because I think even a Mume or an Ina, I don't know if it's gonna hurt as much. I don't know. I guess the only way to find out is if it does happen. Which I could see both of them leaving. But yeah, I don't know. It's funny because I feel like the first two gens, like, there's like two people I feel like that aren't gonna leave, so it's like Ceres and Takamori. Like they're gonna stay there for a while. Kiara might leave eventually, but I think Callie would be one that stays for a while. I think Kiara is probably one that would be there for a few more years, and then Callie will be on her own for Myth. I don't know, out of Thomas, it would be like out of Bayris who would stay around longer. I would want to say Iris, but I have no idea. I could see both of them like being there for a while. Yeah, with Advent, I think Shiori's gonna be one, like with Fauna, that just kind of leaves. Like with this mass exodus, it seemed like with the streamer first people, I think Shiori's gonna join that. I mean, Fumoko, Bibu, both live in Japan. Narissa still lives at her house, but she's like a music person. She also has the metal rod, so I could see like her leaving, but for like health complications, right? I mean, I'm sure the choreography, like, it helps her, right? Like, they suit it for her. But I think Fumoko or Bibu is gonna stay the longest of Advent. Just as people were saying Elizabeth, and like at first I was doubting it, because Elizabeth feel like she'd be the oldest member to me. Like, if we're going like out of character, like their IRL selves, it feels like Elizabeth would be the oldest one. But no, they might be onto something, right? Because I can see Gigi leaving pretty quickly. Rora, I have no idea. Sorry, I'm shaking now because my feet are freezing. And like CC, I think also like CC and Gigi, I think are kind of similar, where they're more stream first. Even though like CC can do music stuff. Like that's the only thing I could see why CC would be longer than Gigi. And then Rora, I have no idea. Yeah, that's all of EN, I feel like. And ID, I really, like, individually, I can only think, like, Kyla would leave. Which, that would suck for, like, Grindstone, right? Because I think Bibu would stay. Because, like, and I think I said earlier to stream, but, like, it would be weird for me, like, for her to just move to Japan and then immediately be like, oh, I'm leaving. Like, I'm leaving Hololive. Like, that seems weird. I feel like she's moving to Japan to, like, work, like, for it to be easier to work on Hololive stuff, you know? So, like, I just think that'd be weird. Zeta did move to Japan, because I was actually thinking, because I'm thinking of people who, like, don't make music much. Zeta's one where I think she only made one original, right? Unless after her 3D live, she made another one. But yeah, she's also in Japan. I think the people most likely to leave are the people who are not in Japan. I think if they're in Japan, they're going to stay there for at least a couple of years. Which, yeah, that would be Mume, that would be Crony. I think Kiara technically isn't in Japan anymore. That'd be Narissa. But, like, again, I don't think Narissa's gonna leave. That'd be Shiori. And I think all of Justice... No, Rower is in Japan. But I think the rest of Justice is in their home regions. Yeah, I think those are the people who probably have the biggest shot of, like, leaving. Or, like, it's the easiest to tell. Like, easiest to predict. Because you never know, some of the people in Japan might leave. But I think it is true also, it's gonna affect EN way more than it is, like, JP. Like, people leaving. Because I think even, like, EN, like, they were more focused on streamers. Right? Like, yeah, I think they were focused on streamers, because, like, why would you sign Ame if she can't sing, right, or dance? Unless maybe they saw potential. And, like, I think even Fauna was similar in that way. Like, I don't know about Crony. I believe Crony was a voice actress, though, before she joined Hololive. So was that... Like, there's a pretty decent connection there, too. Of, like, voice actresses being really good singers. Like, yeah. Bibu's another one, but I can see, like, the charm in it. Like, she is, like, an idol, you know? That makes sense. Fuomoko has a history of doing that. Narissa's a good singer. Justice, obviously, Herb is a professional singer. Cecilia does have some musical background. Raura, I think Raura and Gigi were stream choices. I think they were streamer choices. Because Raura has, like, that cozy vibe, and then Gigi is just a gremlin. So I think they were, like, the two, like, streamer choices. I think CC and Herb were more for the music side. It's like, I don't know, I feel like with EN, they're still, like, balancing streamer and like, idol, right? Like, music. But again, it might be, like, this sudden transition, right? It could have happened after Justice, right? So, like, I don't know. It's hard to say. Yeah, I really should get out here. It's 2.5 hours. I'm gonna have a freaking... My Sunday stream's gonna be shorter than this stream. Jesus. At this rate. I keep gabbing about this stuff. Like, half the stream is not even gonna be Cookie Clicker at this point, and I did not expect that. That's what I mean, though, with, like, having chat, though. Like, if I can go this long in my own little world for 2.5 hours, like, Jesus. Now, granted, I was repeating a lot of the same stuff throughout, like, that first hour and a half, but this last hour, man, it's been crazy. Yeah, let me make sure. Okay, it's not an ad. I did catch one ad. Like, not immediately, but I did catch one ad, so that's nice. Because I do want to clip some of this stuff. It just sucks because the shorter clips do so bad in the algorithm. Like, I have to keep it under a minute. And it's so hard to do that when I'm, like, talking about stuff. And, like, I feel like I do a so roundabout way of doing it. And, like, the idea, like, it's not all coherent. Because I throw in ideas just from all over. Like, I just keep throwing in ideas. So, like, it's so hard for me to talk about something in under a minute. I need, like, Fubuki, like, speed talking in order to do it right, you know, get it all under a minute. But yeah, I'll see you Sunday, hopefully for something a little lighter, yeah, a little more happy. I mean, it's what Fauna would want, you know, so I won't get too sad. I think I'm mostly over it, even though I feel my eyes tearing up again. God dang it. I need to, you know what? I need to learn freaking, like, meditation at this point, dude. I need to. Maybe that's why I should learn. Just learn meditation. Then maybe that's next stream. Just learn meditation. Good lord, dude. Like, I feel like I need it. I need to be zen. Not Zentreya, but, like, in a zen state. Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, and I should finally get out of here. Just only took 2.5 hours, you know. Only, and I expect to be here for like maybe half an hour. There for a bit longer. I mean, yeah, I think it's because that emotion hit me, so I just let the emotion play out. And then yeah, I was saying on the whole tangent of another theory of what's going on with Hololive and all that, which again it's complete speculation. Like, I got so attached to it, but I need to remember like it's speculation. At the end of the day, like I don't know the truth. So yeah, I should keep that in mind. I do think it is a very compelling theory, but yeah. I'll get out of here. See you Sunday then. Goodbye.